Hello YouTube, I'm getting ready to start my next project. Anybody that follows my channel saw the video I done where I took an old roper tractor and fixed it up, repainted it, rebadged it, made it look like it was brand new. The reason for that was I had my grandfather's suburban tractor and I broke the transmission in it, and I bought the other tractor for a donor, but since the thing ran, drove, was in good shape, other than a few little items that I had to fix, I just didn't have the heart to tear it apart. This one right here is definitely, I'm not going to shed no tears tearing this thing apart. It's in pretty rough shape. It's, you can see it's pretty rotted. The motor looks like it's been exposed to the elements for quite some time. Everything's been left wide open. So the steering is about locked up. You can almost barely turn the steering wheel. You have to really pull on it to turn those wheels. So I'm not going to shed a whole lot of tears about tearing this one apart. This is a perfect donor for what I'm doing. So this right here will actually give me the transmission I need, a belly mower that I could use, a hood that I can do some repair work on so I can replace the one on mine. And this one has one of those little 3-point hitches. And I don't know if I'll ever use this one, but it's kind of cool that I got one. So if I ever want to take it a box plate or something like that on it. But all right, I'm getting started on the deck first. I got the scissor mechanism off the top cover to see where I'm at, and she is rough. Looks like somebody's already done some little patchwork here and a little patchwork here. I'm not sure what they used. It feels to be very thin, and obviously you can see definitely got some issues. So I'm gonna essentially remove everything. I'm gonna take all the spindles out, everything out. I'm gonna sandblast this thing. I'm gonna sand it down to the bare metal, see what I have to work with. Start patching in areas, like say like right here. I might just cut this completely section out, weld a new piece in there, and all that. So I'm starting with the deck first. I feel that's going to be the longest portion of this project, I guess you can say. So, but she's rough. Okay, got them out. I took a scraper, and just cleaned off as much of the scaly stuff as I can. Now I'm going to take a sanding wheel, go over the whole thing, knock as much more off as I can, and then I'll do my sandblasting. But she's gonna need some work. All right, I hit it with a grinder to get as much of the rust and shaly stuff off as possible. So I'm down to what I can actually see is wrong with the deck. Not quite as bad as I was expecting. Still kind of bad, but not quite as bad. I have a couple ways I can go about fixing this. One way would be to essentially bend myself a piece of metal that fits in this space, cut this all out nice and neat, weld it all in, and try to make it all pretty and everything. But what I'm kind of worried about is with some of these pits being pretty deep, that when I start welding on this, I'm probably just going to burn more holes in this. Even on my lightest setting, I might just burn a bunch of holes. So I might just put a piece of metal over top, bend it to make it fit as nice and tight as possible, and weld it on top. So this way I'm actually kind of creating 2 layers. You can see these things are they're pretty trashed. They don't spin. You can barely get them to move. The pulleys are pretty rusted. Even if I sanded those things down, I would probably chew belts up, trying to use these, the whole thing. But it's kind of funny because my wife makes fun of me for being a pack rat. But a while back, my other mower deck, the one I stuck under the roper for now, I had to replace all the spindles on that at one point. So I held on to all the old ones. It's only been multiple years, but I was like, I might use those one day. And here's that day, because I'm going to take them apart, see what I do to maybe put new bearings in them, and put them back on. And these are all in really good shape as far as the pulleys. These ain't rusted. or anything like that. They just started making growling noises. So that means the bearings are starting to go bad in it. So, and I was able to find my original pulley, because for some reason my original was a 2-part pulley for the center one, versus like this one right here is a 1-piece pulley. So, but I saved everything. The only thing I did not save, or not sure where they're at, is the bolts. But those are just regular standard bolts. I can find those anywhere. But she picks on me for being a pack rat, but cha-ching! I probably saved myself a couple $100 right there. So, alright, rebuild day is gonna start taking place. I stopped by Tractor Supply, picked up these little strips of 16 gauge, 24 by 8 sheets of metal, which is good because they almost fit between here perfectly. But when I go to make my piece, like I said, I think I'm just going to do the double layer. So what I'm going to do is, after I make the piece to where it's going to fit, I'm going to sandblast all this. I'm going to put a coat of paint on it, so this way it seals it, and then I'm going to make this piece fit. And see how it actually starts to dip into the edges? I'm going to bend those down so they'll actually go down into here a little bit. So when I do my tack weld, I should be able to really reinforce this area. Alright, I'm working on spindles. This one right here, the center one, was really the only bad one. The bottom bearing and race essentially completely disintegrated, so I was able to pick up another one. If anybody's curious about it, I picked it up at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's the part number for it. And unfortunately what happened with this one is the original nut that was on there, the thread stripped out, so it allowed the pulley to move a little bit, taking the pressure off the race and bearing setup, and essentially I think that's what probably caused my bottom bearing to blow out. So I cut it off. I put a slightly smaller thread on here so this way I can get a nice good bead around it, and I'll just put a larger washer on there to make sure I hold it. But as soon as that cools down, I'm going to press this bearing on, reassemble the center one, get ready to put it in. I got the other one sitting on here. I don't gonna bolt it on yet, but these, you can see, spin nice. I'm gonna grease them up really good, so this way I can make sure that they last a while. This one's a little stiff. I might have got it a little too tight, but I might try to loosen that up once I get it bolted in. But getting closer to having the deck done. Alright, got the other one in the shop. Ready to start tearing this one apart now. I'm getting ready to get started on the hood. The reason why I'm going to repair this one versus using that one is I have this centerpiece right here that has the little eyelets and all that, versus this one right here took a pretty good hit a long time ago. And you see where it's cracked up here, plus this entire center section is completely gone. You see where I just took some of that old slotted shelving kind of stuff and kind of welded it together, screwed it into place, and made these little metal tabs to lock it in place. So this one doesn't have all that stuff, so I don't have nothing really to work with unless I wanted to stick with this, contraption I made. But this one right here, I know I can fix like I did on that roper, so I'm gonna go ahead and fix this one up, and I'm gonna attach that one to, the metal part of the hood. So let's get started. Alright, I made it to this point, kind of show what I'm doing here. What I'm doing is, because I don't have any real structure here anymore to work with, I do have a little bit here, but not much over here. I took my piece and I bent the ends up. And you see where I have notches. Those notches go around stuff like the ears here, these little tabs right here. I mean, I could always grind those tabs down, but I just went ahead and just went around them. And then this one right here, I'm going to use this one to kind of help hold this in place a little bit. But essentially what it's going to do is it's going to sit down inside here. I'll put a screw in here, just kind of lock it in place. I'll be able to put a couple screws and countersink them into the sides so I get a little more strength there. And then this piece will essentially go right in here like that. It'll make everything nice and even, straight. And then I will, first I'm going to use the epoxy just to hold everything in place, and then everything will be fiberglass after that. And then some body filler to smooth it in. It'll be just like I did for that roper. And that's how I'm going to fix this hood. Alright, I went ahead and put the other belly mower up underneath the roper like I was going to, and this is the original one for my Suburban, so I went ahead and pulled it up underneath here, did a quick sanding on it, put some black paint on it. Once it dries, I'll go ahead and repaint the indication mark, and I just gotta start doing all the silver paint on the rims, running boards, fenders, hood, and all that, and then I'll start the reassembly. everything's painted, get ready to start the reassembly. Alright, here's the finished product. Went ahead and repainted everything, put all new stickers on there. Found a company that does some really good retro stickers. Went ahead and put my custom exhaust back on that I built 5 years ago for it. I did that because I don't have any mufflers to put on there, and I just didn't want some mufflers just kind of hanging out. Plus I think it looks kind of unique. All in all, I think it came out pretty good. My biggest thing was I just wanted to fix the transmission in it and then just give it a freshening up, just kind of make it look like it did when it was brand new. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think. Tell me if it came out looking pretty good. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.